NCM Sports Talk is a program focusing on athletes, alumni, and coaches from Norwood's past, present, and future. On this episode, we hear about a new tradition for the NHS girls basketball team, and NHS alum Jacob Logan talks about his collegiate career. Only on this episode of NCM Sports Talk.
Hello everybody, I'm Mark Hoover and NCM Sports Talk is back for yet another episode, bringing you the highlights and stories of all things Norwood sports. And kicking things off, NCM's Ron Marshalsea sat down recently with head coach Kristen McDonald as she talks about a new tradition, the newest member of her coaching staff, and her expectations as she enters her second season at the helm of the Norwood High School girls basketball team.
Thanks, Mark. I am joined today by head coach of the NHS girls basketball team and NHS guidance counselor, Kristen McDonald. Kristen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get into the actual sports talk, I have to talk about the end of the Stall Street Journal, which was a delightful display of trivia, fun facts, and jokes in every bathroom in the school written by you in the NHS guidance department. I was in high school when it was founded. I saw the first issue, and now I've seen the last. What was the decision to stop making the journal and subsequently breaking my heart?
Yeah, I think retirement was calling from that point of view. It needs new energy. I had done it for 7-8 years, same types of things each time. So I think it just needed a new facelift. So I'm hoping somebody else wants to take it on and do it. But it was a lot of fun.
So hopefully there will be a revival.
I'm hoping. I keep trying to sell it to everybody that's giving me a hard time for ending it.
So
you do it, yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll show you how. You just go with it,
You can find a teacher every month.
That's it. No, it is fun. It's just, it needed something new.
All right. Well, now let's get into the actual
the actual stuff. Right, love it.
So, talk to me about the upcoming season. The team started off really strong against Holliston. Mm-hmm. What do you think the team should be carrying over every single game from that game, and what do you think the team still needs to work on?
Yeah, our biggest thing going into Holliston was to play disciplined. That was the word of the day, our overarching bridge under everything else was going to be built. Because I think in some of the scrimmages we had gotten away from that in terms of fouling people on defense and just not taking pride in truly keeping people from getting to the basket. I thought offensively we weren't really taking care of the ball as much in some of those scrimmages, so we were trying to be much more disciplined that way. So, and which I thought we did a good job with Holliston. And so that's the big thing we need to carry over to all of our games. It doesn't matter how good or how bad a team is that we're playing. We need to, good teams play the same way every single game, regardless of how you're playing. And I think that's something we all have to get a little bit better at.
Disciplined defensive teams always win the game.
They do.
Absolutely.
They do.
And I saw on social media, you started a new tradition with the team, the white coat ceremony.
Yes.
Involving staff members and your members of the team who they pick, the staff members, excuse me. But could you talk a little bit more about that? What was?
Yeah, it was kind of just, I think, something to keep the pride going, in the name they wear on the front of the jersey and how much it means for those kids and for people who have played here in the past to see them representing Norwood High. And so the white coat ceremony is in actuality when medical students become a true med student, they get this white coat. And it means that they've gotten through all their pre-course studies and they've done a lot of hard work to get to where they are. And so I kind of relate that to where we are, is you've done a lot of work through youth basketball and in the off seasons and doing all that. And now you get that final thing. And now what are you going to do with it, right? Now it's up to you to see how much you're going to build. So we had each varsity player ask a staff member here who was special to them to give it to them, to kind of bring in the whole school community. And then on the spot, we asked the kids to say something about that teacher, which I'm pretty sure they weren't psyched about being put on that. But I think it's good to learn how to think quick on your feet. So they did a great job with that. I think then we put together a little highlight film, had some other videos that were sent to us from alumni who had played. So it was pretty cool to hear their messages too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.
It was fun.
And I kind of want to ask, how did they fare getting put on the spot like that overall?
They did a good job, after maybe a little extra sweat and some minor stuttering here and there. I think they they really did a nice job. And it was like from the heart. They didn't have to prepare anything. It was like, tell us what you think about this staff member.
That's probably
And teachers, and as we might know, it's a thankless job for them a lot of times. So to be able to see the positives of the people they're impacting, I think is so important to keep people here and loving their job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we learned recently through an interview with Noah Bodette conducted by Joey O'Connor that Joey was going to be the freshman boys basketball coach. Now I hear that he has joined your staff.
Yeah, we stole him away.
How'd you steal him?
I know. I didn't know. I actually truly didn't know he had like committed to the freshman job. I thought he was still in like the cloud of the recruiters were kind of going after him everywhere. So I mentioned JV, and just because I think that is that like middle level, he was excited about coaching different grade levels and not just the freshmen. And so, it was great. We pulled him out of retirement from being a CYO coach, I think he was, and a great CYO player. And now he's the girls love him. He is really knowledgeable, knows what he's doing, good way about him that I think lets the kids knows to be serious when they need to be, and can have a lot of fun too. So we're very lucky.
Have fun. He brings a good energy.
He has a very good energy. Yeah, he's a very positive guy too. So we need that.
And good for you for snagging him. I know the Celtics were looking at him.
Yeah, man.
I
know. They can wait.
Was looking at him.
It was everywhere.
Everybody.
Offers, money, cash, right? Cash bonuses.
So that must have been right around there. Maybe a couple cupcakes in the guidance office or something.
Yeah, he'll get something. We'll just figure out what that is. Right. Yeah.
And final question: you only lost one senior last year. Is it easier to hit the ground running when you start the season with the chemistry that's basically more or less already there?
Yeah, 100%. I think too, just having another year with the program in general. Like last year, no matter what grade regardless of what grade they were in, they were all like freshmen to us because they didn't know the system we were putting in. We didn't know a lot about them, so we were still trying to get to know them as players. And now to be able to run a lot of the same sets and stuff, and just the same terminology we use for a year, and expectations, and so they were very quick in taking it and running with it anyway. So they've just continued to do that. We have great leadership.
All right. Awesome. And is there anything that you'd like to add about this upcoming season?
No, just great kids, and they have a lot of fun. And it's I'm constantly trying to hide laughter. I'm trying to pretend that I'm not about to laugh at the stuff that they're saying because I'm trying to keep it somewhat serious. But they're just a really good group to be around.
That's awesome to hear. Well, good luck for the rest of the season. I know you guys went really far last year. I know the expectations are already past that. And and nothing but good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much for having me.
And I'm going to toss it right back to Mark Hoover.
Thanks, Ron, and good luck to all on the upcoming season. Be sure to tune in to NCM this winter for continuing live basketball coverage. Well, the fall season recently wrapped up, and the Norwood High School Athletic Awards were held in November. John Longley recapped the numerous accomplishments of the fall teams, and the parents and students had the chance to enjoy one of the favorite moments of the awards night, the highlight video produced by Ron Marshalsea.
This has been a really successful fall, one of the most successful falls that we've had in recent years. We had 5 teams qualify for the state tournament. We had 2 TVL championship team, a state finalist team, over 20 TVL All-Stars, 2 MVPs, 2 coaches of the year. So congratulations, really fantastic fall. Okay, we'll start tonight's program with a fall highlight video.
Great job on the video, Ron, and stay tuned for more of that later in the show. Recently, Jack Tolman, Brian Boudreau, and I attended a conference up in Burlington, Vermont. And while there, we had a chance to interview UVM women's hockey head coach and member of the Norwood High School class of 1978, Jim Plumer. Now, this is going to be an upcoming NCM Sports Talk special edition, but here's a little sneak peek. Well, we are up here on the campus of UVM, here in the Gut, which I think first and foremost is a great name for a hockey rink. It's got that old barn feel to it. It's a great facility. Last weekend, you guys again set another Hockey East attendance record for your weekend series against BC with a student body kind of support system that you've got here in the school itself. What does UVM as a school mean to you?
Well, it really has become an adopted home for sure. It's a unique place, being a small state with the only Division I school in our state, and besides the student support, I think one of the really unique things about Burlington and UVM, this is the pro sports. Yeah. Of Burlington, and the community really supports us. We get some student support, and even for all of our sports rather, you'd be surprised at how many people in the community come out and support. So just to be at a school that has a historic feel. I had gone to Colby, I had worked at Bowdoin and Amherst, old NESCAC type schools, and UVM has such a history. It was considered a public Ivy for a long time. Historic buildings, beautiful campus. When I thought about places that I would want to work, like being somewhere where I wanted to live in a community that was small enough to not feel like a big stuffy city, but have a lot of the qualities that a city has. And I think this university, being a medium-sized university, offers so many educational opportunities, but also the thrill of Division I sports.
Yeah. And speaking of the Division I sports, obviously one of your big roles here is certainly the head coaches of the UVM women's team. Kind of dovetailing on that, what does the hockey team, the women's hockey team, mean to you?
Well, it's such a family, and I've been blessed over the years to be parts of so many hockey teams, and I think especially women's teams really have a chemistry and a camaraderie that is just makes you feel like you're the father of these guys. The transition from D3 to D1 is different in that we have a much bigger staff, and you're almost the CEO of a small company, as opposed to kind of the guy who does it all in D3, and especially over the last few years, the culture that we've developed, the positivity around our program, the relationships between the student athletes, between each other and the staff and the players. It makes it great to come to work every day, and the best part of the day is the time that we get to spend in practice. And unfortunately, that's not the biggest part of the job.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, good energy this morning. I know it's tempting to look at this big. I talked about it yesterday about the 3 games in 5 days, but let's just focus on first period tomorrow. Okay, we know we got to get out. We want to get off to a good start, and then we just got to look at it 1 period at a time, not look too far ahead here. Okay, there was a quote I had one of the practice plans the other day that said, one of the things about the world being round is that you can't look too far ahead. So let's just look at the first period tomorrow night, bring our best, our focus, our enthusiasm, all right, and then carry it through 1 period at a time. All right, let's go.
Good job, guys. Pats on 3. 1, 2, 3, pass!
And that's a wrap, boys.
In addition to the interview, we might coach Plumer up for a practice and cover the Catamounts game against Maine. This is going to be a great show for the sports fans of Norwood, so sure to be on the lookout for the full interview. Now, in addition to Coach Plumer, we had the chance to catch up with Erin Wagner, Norwood High School class of 2020, who skates for the UVM women's club hockey team. Well, pleased to be up here at UVM to be joined by Erin Wagner. Erin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Class of 2020 from Norwood High School.
Yes.
And as said, class of 2024, a senior here at UVM.
Yeah.
Going very fast. You know, look, you've been playing hockey in Norwood through Nuggets and through the high school. What was it about the sport of hockey that kept you kind of coming back year after year?
It definitely is just the culture around it. I feel like everyone who's in hockey loves it. Like now the girls, we all talk about how everyone on our team right now, it's so fun and so competitive because everyone wants to be there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just a consistent that you find throughout hockey anyways, and that's what keeps bringing me back.
Yeah, it is a great sport. It really is. You had a very successful high school career. You know, from freshman year to senior year, what did you see as kind of like some of the biggest changes in your game over that 4-year span?
I definitely would say the confidence with the puck. Freshman year, I kind of was just way more fast-paced than going from U14, definitely. And you're playing against girls who are like 18 when I'm 16 is when you start, I think, high school. But so the confidence with puck, just holding on to it, taking a second to look and get that good pass off, definitely I saw was one of my biggest changes from freshman to senior year.
Right. It was a joy to watch you play high school. You know, you wrap that up again. We talk about how fast things go. If you had to look back now, what are one of the things that maybe you miss the most about high school hockey?
I feel like, obviously my friends. Yeah. I got to play with everyone that I grew up playing hockey with, and coaches. No.
Well, we put that
like
plug.
No.
Yep.
And then I just love the consistency too. Like club sports is not as often as high school, but it's still very fun. I don't know. I miss like mostly my teammates and everything around that.
Yeah. You mentioned club hockey, and that's a great segue because we're up here at UVM. You're a member of the UVM women's club hockey team, which is extremely impressive. For those that aren't really necessarily familiar with club hockey, tell us a little bit about what it's all about. Yeah,
so it kind of varies from school to school, but for UVM specifically, when you come to UVM and you want to try out for women's club hockey, you just sign up at the fair and then you go to tryouts, and if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. You can always come back next year. We encourage people to come back next year because we lose people randomly. Not randomly, but like bigger classes from here and there. Yeah. But you try out and then just practices twice a week, and then usually we have 1 to 2 games a weekend, and the season ranges from September to March, but one plus is you're not playing when you're on breaks because they're not paying us to be here. Right. So when we're not in school, we are not playing hockey. Right. So but it's still really competitive and fun.
Do you think, or in terms of the difference between the high school game and the college game, what were some of the biggest differences that you saw when you stepped on the ice here at UVM?
Definitely the speed and the skill. The girls that are here that we're playing against, they played at prep schools. They maybe took like a year before or were getting recruited, and they decided they wanted to go to a bigger school with maybe some better like academics, or they wanted to pursue like nursing. And you can't really do D1 hockey with nursing. Right, yeah. And then I just think it's the speed. Everyone is so fast. And then also the skill. It's just amazing to see how good people are at playing hockey, and it definitely elevates my game, which I'm so grateful for.
I mean, you kind of see it like almost like a pyramid again as you go up the levels. The better and better players continue to play. So that's fantastic. Again, senior year already, and
I know.
The hard part is you're getting older, but the rest of us are staying the same age, so it works out really well. Looking back in terms of maybe a fond memory you've had playing up here at UVM.
I definitely would say going to nationals and making it to nationals was amazing. UVM necessarily in the past hasn't really made it that much, but the year before, freshman year we couldn't play because of COVID. Sure. But then, so they technically made nationals the year before that, but they couldn't go because of COVID also. Almost there. Yeah. And then, so our sophomore year we officially made it, and we got to go to St. Louis as a team and travel with everyone, like room at the hotels, bop around the city. I mean, not much to look at in St. Louis. But also you don't want to go too far around St. Louis by yourself.
Yep.
But definitely got some good barbecue, which was nice.
That's what it's known for, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
Definitely was sending my dad some pictures of that. He was very jealous.
Yes, we mentioned that. You definitely mentioned that.
But definitely, and the friends I've made have, because we have girls from Colorado, a lot from Vermont and Massachusetts, but Colorado, Virginia, and everything like that.
Sounds awesome. Listen, one last thing. You know, aside from Mom, Dad, Timmy, and Tessie, you've been up here now for 4 years. What do you think maybe you didn't think you would miss about Norwood, but that you have, you know, being up here at UVM?
I think the accessibility to some quick and easy food. Dunkin' Donuts. Definitely Vermont is much more spread out, so a good little trip to the TJ Maxx. I'd miss that a little bit, but also the Spot. Can't beat those bagels.
There you go.
Juice Bar. Love that. It was, a lot from Norwood is good, but it's definitely fun being here too.
That's good. You've had, again, a very successful career. Congratulations on all that you've done thus far. Best of luck the rest of the way. I know it's kind of winding up, but it's still exciting. And now that you're just about done, you can come play it's not even old man hockey, it's old folk hockey. Every Thursday night at Hyde Park at 9 o'clock. We expect to see you there next year.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Your dad will be psyched.
Oh, he'll drag me there.
Erin Wagner joining us here at The Gut at UVM. Thanks, Erin, for joining us. Great to see, and best of luck your senior year. And now we go from the rinks to the roads, as NCM's own sportscaster and president of the Fog Running Club, Eric Bodenhofer, spoke with Jacob Logan from the class of 2018. Logan ran for the University of Southern New Hampshire and recently took first place at the 37th running of the Norwood Turkey Trot.
Thank you, Mark. We're joined today in the NCM studios by class of 2018 NHS graduate Jacob Logan and, perhaps more importantly, 2023 Norwood Turkey Trot champion. Jacob, really exciting. I think Jack Tolman is of the belief that you are the first Norwood resident or Norwood High School graduate to win the Turkey Trot. So congratulations on that. Thank you. Now, how many times have you run the Turkey Trot in the past?
This was my first year running it in a while. I believe I ran it back in 2018 and 2019, and then obviously COVID happened, and then I was back at school and running cross country during the following year, so I hadn't run it. So, but now that I'm graduated and have a little bit more time, I decided, I was like, you know, some of my friends are doing it, and it'll be fun to go back to Norwood and race it.
And when you started off, did you think that winning it was in the cards? Were you feeling like you trained enough, you were ready for it?
I had a few big races this past summer, so I had a good summer training block. And before the Turkey Trot, I had some Achilles tendonitis problems, so I was skeptical about how successful I would be. But you know, I just said, I'll sign up, see where my fitness is at, and so I just kind of had the goal to go out with some of the people that are in the front of the pack and see how I feel depending on that, and ended up feeling pretty good.
Excellent. And as someone who is, so I would like to say I ran the same race, but that's not true. I ran the same course. You ran a very different race. I spend the entire race thinking about the hill at the end. Is that in your mindset, or are you an experienced enough runner that you're not really worried about what comes in mile 4? You're just mile to mile, or do you run it differently because of the hill at the end?
Well, I think to start, since I hadn't really been training hard the past few weeks leading up to the Turkey Trot, I was just...
Me neither, actually.
I just said, you know, I'm not gonna go out too hard. I'm gonna go out with the people in front and see how they take out the race and kind of play the strategy that way. And obviously running for Norwood, I had run Albemarle and the Westover Parkway enough times to know what to expect from that part of the course.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't too bad. Obviously, no matter how fit you are, that hill is always going to kick your butt a little bit. So I think I just deal with it when I get to there instead of worrying about it too much leading up to it. So I tend to focus more on where I'm currently at in the course instead of being like, okay, at the end, I have to deal with this big hill. Yeah.
I should maybe try that next time, but somehow I can't get that hill out of my head. But so you mentioned running for Norwood, and I know you were a hockey player. I think you played lacrosse.
Yep.
And at what point in your young life did you realize that running was something you could do beyond just getting ready for one of the other sports?
So I played hockey and lacrosse in middle school and up until sophomore year at Norwood High. And one of my friends that I grew up with, he wanted to do cross country our junior fall. So that would have been fall of 2016. And I was like, why would I want to, I hated running at this point.
Right.
I was like, dude, why would I want to run for fun? I barely want to run as is. And he's like, come on, let's do it. We'll do it together. And, I was friendly with some people that were already on the cross country team. So I was like, okay, well, I don't do anything in the fall anyways, because hockey didn't start until the winter. So I signed up, and we always look back on it because it's funny that he ended up hating it and I ended up really liking it. So I was reluctant to sign up at first, but then I ended up really liking it. But then he was the one that wanted to sign up and then ended up hating it. So I liked it enough running my junior year to stop playing hockey and lacrosse, and I did indoor and outdoor. So then junior and senior year I did cross country and track all 3 seasons. Okay. And then I wasn't great or anything junior year because, I didn't know that you had to train over the summer. I thought I could just get a pair of sneakers and, show up on the first day of practice and be fine.
And there's actually strategy involved in the races too, right?
Yeah,
you gotta be a little,
exactly. You can't just go out and run. Well, technically you can.
Right.
So then, I think junior year and into spring track and stuff, I started to get more fitness and kind of understand what was going on. And then over the summer, I had some of my friends that didn't go to Norwood. They lived in Wellesley. 2 brothers. I had them as training partners over the summer, and they're like, "Dude, if you put some miles in and you get serious, we think you could be pretty good." So I trained with them, and credits to them because I got a lot better that summer of actually training, and then took minutes off of my time from junior to senior year. And then, kind of snowballed into being like, okay, well, maybe this is something that I want to try and do in college. And then I started kind of looking around when I was looking at colleges to see where I could potentially run.
So you weren't actually recruited to SNHU, you just were looking for programs where if you
I was looking for programs to where if I, got accepted into the school where I could contact the coach and be like, hey, I'm so-and-so, these are my times, could I walk on or come to a practice or something? So I essentially walked on to the team at SNU.
All right, excellent. And looking at it, it seems like much like the kind of development you had in the last 2 years of your high school career, which I guess were the first 2 years of your high school career too.
Yeah.
It seems like you really progressed through your collegiate career. It seems like you really just improved year over year.
Yeah.
Would that just be putting the miles in? Was the coaching better, different? Was it being pushed by your teammates? What?
Looking back at it, my college career was a disaster.
Okay.
Not from a result standpoint, from just the total timeline of things that happened.
Okay.
Because my freshman year was great. So that was 2018, 2019, and adapted to the program really well. I loved all my teammates and the school and everything. And then sophomore year, I fractured my kneecap. I had a stress fracture.
Oh, geez.
So I ran on that all season not knowing. And then that turned into an injury that went into COVID. So then I didn't have a season in 2020 because of the COVID. And then we went back, and I was still getting over the injury after we went back on campus. And so that season was it was pretty good. I PR'd, but not by much from my times leading up to that. And then I had a slew of health problems. So that fall semester, my appendix burst the night before our regional championship. So this was my senior year.
Oh, no.
So my senior year, which was supposed to be my best season,
right? The crowning achievement.
Yeah, before the regional championship race to see if I can go to nationals. I'm in the hospital in Manchester with a severe appendicitis in the emergency room.
Oh my. Okay.
And then I was like, like this is all great. And then and then fast forward a few months after that, the appendicitis actually caused my pancreas to stop working, and then I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes after like that following spring.
Oh my goodness.
So then after that diagnosis, I was like, like maybe I should give this another shot. Like I don't think I'm done running yet. So because of COVID, I had the extra year of eligibility to run. So in spring of 2022, I'd like talked to my coaches and kind of figured out all my credits and stuff. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back for a 5th year, and that was a year ago now. So fall of 2022 was like my 5th year figuring out how to run and compete with type 1 diabetes after all of this stuff, which was like a whole other,
I would imagine,
bracket of challenges, so to speak. But it ended up kind of being like a blessing in disguise because of the diagnosis, I was having to pay so much more attention to how my body was feeling and how I was fueling and taking care of myself. So in return, my training got a lot better, and I was paying a lot more attention to how my training was going. And so like I took 2 minutes off my 8K PR and ended up running like 24:48 for 8K at Franklin Park against like some big D1 schools.
Yeah, that's a big race, yeah.
Yeah, so like some tiny little D2 runner coming 4th place out of like in this big D1 meet essentially was like a big thing for me. And then the regional meet came around, which is where I had my appendicitis the year prior, and I was like, okay, well, let's hope I have no more health problems with this. And then I ended up placing 2nd in the Northeast region for the 10K, and then that's what qualified me to go to nationals in Seattle last December.
Wow, so so great that you stuck with it and got that extra year. That's fantastic. And so now you're not in college. Clearly, you're still running since you just won the Turkey Trot. Have you joined a club, or are you just running on your own at this point? Do you have plans to maybe start running longer distances and doing?
Yeah, it's funny that the total change from going, like being at school and being a student athlete and having that competitive environment with my teammates and, like having that community, to moving back home and like being like living with my parents, like trying to find a job and being by myself essentially. And that was like a big struggle for me training wise, because I had never really done a lot of training by myself because I was used to running with a group of 10, 15 guys every day. But I kind of viewed it as, well, I already have all of this fitness coming out of cross-country season, and I don't want it really to go to waste. But winters are hard.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
So
yes,
running, alone and trying to work out and stuff in the winters is pretty difficult and a challenge in itself. But one of my friends, a mutual friend that I had a coach who he recommended to me. His name's Brendan Gilpatrick. He lives up in Maine, and his coaching company is called Dirigo Endurance. And he is kind of like a personal training coach for individuals. And so in April, I started training under him with the goal to do Falmouth road race at the end of the summer.
Yeah.
So I did Beach to Beacon 10K up in Portland, Maine, and then 2 weeks after that, I did Falmouth road race, which were like kind of my big races to look forward to.
How'd you do in Falmouth?
Falmouth was really good.
Yeah.
Usually, Falmouth road race is really hot, like 90 degrees and humid, and like on the water and bright sun, and so many people. So like, I've heard horror stories from people who race it. They're like, yeah, it was so bad. Like, like the temperature was, all those kinds of things. But it ended up being like cloudy and 65 degrees when I ran it, so it was perfect.
Nice.
And luckily, I got into the seated section of Falmouth, so I was at the front of the pack.
So not having to dodge through all the people like myself who
And since I work down in Woods Hole, I know how small that space is, and there's 9,000 people that race Falmouth road race. So I was like, if I get put at the back of the pack for whatever reason, I'm going to be like having to dodge and weave through people for 5 miles before I can actually get into the race.
Right.
But luckily, since I got put in the seated section, I was able to be not in the men's professional section, but the section after them.
Okay.
And out of the 9,000 or so people that raced Falmouth, ended up placing 32nd, which was really
that's amazing.
It was rewarding. And I ended up beating some people that were in that professional section. So that was a good feeling too, knowing like, okay, I can compete with these people that are, the big names in these races, so to speak.
Are you hoping? Do you think is being a professional runner in the cards and something you'd want to do, or is that just too much of a commitment to run?
I don't know if it would be too much. I'd have to definitely figure out a good training plan and stuff like that.
Sure.
But to be determined, I guess.
Okay, that's Well, hey, I think everyone in Norwood will be rooting for you if that's what you do choose to do. I mean, that's really, really exciting. So, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really great talking to you. And congratulations again on your run. I hope this is the start of just a domination of the turkey trot. That Norwood will own its own turkey trot. So again, thank you very much for joining us. On behalf of NCM, I really do appreciate it, and we'll send it back to Mark in the studio.
Cool.
A terrific run by Jacob, and if he keeps it up, we might be able to make him a member of that Fog Running Club. Now, earlier in the show, we brought you the first part of the fall sports highlight video. Here now is the rest of just some of the season's highlights.
Sizing up the Millis keeper. He moves in. And he puts it through. Done it. A.B. Remy with a golden tie up the game for the Mustangs with, what do you think, Joe? Maybe a minute left. Oh, maybe. I tell you, this is wild right now.
Well, another fall season is now in the books, and another winter season is already underway. The NCM crew is ready to provide continuing coverage for family and friends and Norwood sports fans everywhere. Well, that's it for this episode of NCM Sports Talk. Once again, we hope you've enjoyed the program, and remember to stay up to date with all things Norwood sports. Tune in every week for Ron Marshallsea's Sportscast on Norwood News, and if you missed any one of NCM's broadcasts or you just want to see a certain game or program again, you can always go to the on-demand feature on the NCM website, norwoodcommunitymedia.org. For NCM Sports Talk, I'm Mark Hoover. Have a great day, everyone. Happy holidays, and let's go Mustangs.